and it's certainly not skewed, positively towards people of color. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the reason why we have the police is like before they actually had uniforms and stuff, they were there to catch the slaves, to catch the runaway slaves. That's why they are basically they were around, back then during slavery to catch all the runaway slaves. Continue to have them now, and now they're actually police in uniform, and we, where they're supposed to be protecting us, but they're still doing the same fucking shit.
Yeah,
it's like
that's straight up the origin of the police in this country.
Is that they were catching
patrollers, referred to as patrollers. They were, and then they became bounty hunters. That's what bounty hunters are. That's who they were. That's why they exist, is because they were hunting slaves down and bringing them back for a bounty. That's like the dead or alive thing. Like a lot of this shit comes from a straight up history of American oppression against black folks. And now it just exists legally, and they're being gifted fucking separate bills of rights to protect them from taking anyone's life. And like that's not just saying like if you shoot a person of color, you're fine. It's like if you shoot anyone, you're fine. Like that should be terrifying to everybody. That doesn't make me feel safer.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you had any interactions that were?
Not. I think because I'm small, I don't get as crazy of a experience with cops. It's like the worst thing I can think of. What comes to mind is like I remember driving. And this is before you couldn't talk with the phone. You couldn't hold a phone. And I was driving, and I was talking to my mom, and I got pulled.
Sorry, before it was illegal.
Before it was illegal
so there was no law in the books or anything
saying that I couldn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was speeding so he pulled me over rightfully. And then as I didn't see his lights right away, but granted, you notice really quickly when they flash you, so I don't think it was that long of a time that I didn't notice.
Was this at night too?
It was in the daytime.
Okay.
I think it was on the 710 freeway, just driving in Long Beach.
Sorry, I really like to.
No, it's daytime.
Set the scene.
Yeah.
Set the scene as the mood.
Yeah.
And
the
so
mood is terrifying.
That was my first time I think getting pulled over, and so I pulled over, and he's in the brown. He's like a highway patrol, and he's got the hat and everything, and I have to roll down the window, and he's screaming at me, and my mom's still on the phone. He's just screaming, and it's like, if next time you see a police, you pull over immediately and get off your phone. You have respect, and you it was. I was like, what the fuck is happening? Yeah. And then so I hung up the phone. I didn't my reaction was just silence, because I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And so then he was just give me your ID, and is this your car? Everything he said, he was literally raising very loudly yelling at me. And so I just grabbed everything, and at a certain point I think he felt stupid because I wasn't saying anything. Yeah. And so his yelling became more of a regular. Yeah. He was. Yeah. And I was just like, what did I do to make him so mad? I was young. I just got my license too, probably, and it was I don't even know why he was so mean to me.
It's and I don't mean to betray my friends who are in law enforcement, but a lot of them have to undertake their own training. Additional training. They're told to go to the range and go but they're not told they're not given brush up training on how to respond to someone who is not an aggressor. They're always trained to respond to an aggressor. Yeah. So if all of a sudden you're whipped into a frenzy of only knowing how to respond to an aggressor, and then someone either doesn't listen to you or doesn't understand or is just experiencing the thing of adrenaline rush, I'm in danger, I am fight or flight mode, and you don't know what the fuck is happening, that cop is going to get more and more terrified, and they're more and more likely to use a weapon on you because they're not trained to deal with that. So this is not excusing their behavior at all, but this is because of a lack of training.
Yeah.
If they were fucking trained better.
Yeah.
Sorry for swearing so much, but like,
It's okay.
if they were trained better and more consistently and updated with their training, they would feel safer in the field and the interactions would be less dangerous
Of
and
course,
risky
yeah.
for everybody involved. Like,
Right.
including the criminal who is scared because he has warrants out and
Right,
but doesn't
right,
want
right,
to
right.
fucking die.
Right.
Like, nobody goes out and is like, oh, I'm gonna die today, I don't care.
Right.
Like, if that person exists, then and the cops take them out, okay, good. Like, because that person shouldn't be in society existing with the rest of us. Because I don't want to die. I don't want
Right.
any, but that's not the case. They're not encountering people like that.
Yeah, no, I was super. I was just more just shocked. Like, I just couldn't even. I was just like, what? I didn't cry, but I was just like, why is he yelling at me? Like, what am
It
I
doesn't make
doing? What am I
sense.
doing?
Yeah.
I had no clue what I was doing wrong, other than speeding.
Yeah.
Have you had any interactions with the police, Stacey?
I have. They've all been white or Latinos. I don't know if that matters, but honestly, most of the time, either I just get the ticket or I apologize because I'm in the habit of doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And one time, the cop was like, "You know what? I'm going to let you off because nobody ever apologizes." And I was like, "It's that easy?"
You just
I
really?
doubt it. So-
I mean, that's patently untrue. I can't imagine anyone getting pulled over and their first response isn't, "I'm sorry." When the officer says, "Do you know how fast you were going?" Your
Right.
first response is probably, "I'm sorry, no, I don't. How fast was that?" Like,
Right.
it's the first couple of words that pop out of your mouth when someone in authority
I would
is
think
like
so.
reprimanding you.
In this
is-
case, it was from jumping the turnstile in New York. And I was
Oh,
just like,
wow.
"I'm
Oh,
sorry."
you
I
jumped the
already-
turnstile.
And I was like, I was just like, I knew I
You're
I voted.
not sorry.
I was
You
too.
got
You were
caught.
sorry you got caught.
Yeah, but you didn't like go over the turnstile every other time before that and after it being like, "I'm so sorry," and then walking away from the turnstile being like, "I betrayed you."
Maybe I did a little.
All right, I don't know your life, Stacey. You're right. I don't know your life. You're right.
So he let you go, and that was
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Everyone, it's crazy. I was talking to someone else, and he was a white guy, and he was telling me how he has always had a pleasant experience with the cops. He never knew that there's an issue with them, and until he had a Mexican girlfriend, and he got pulled over, and she's in the passenger seat, and the cop is just making off comments about her, just like about her looking like them dating. Like, I guess they look so different from each other, and like he made a remark like, "Oh, that's your girlfriend?" I'm like, what? And so it's making her, she's getting hot, because she's Mexican, she's dealt with
Yeah.
so much shit.
Yeah.
And so eventually she says something to the officer, and then that's when he gets an attitude, and then her attitude, she gets an attitude. And so he's like right there, he's like, "Whoa, what is going
I
on?"
imagine because the cop is on this side and
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, that's the most undelicious sandwich.
yeah. And that being the first experience of him having a
A negative, yeah.
is
yeah.
like, that's so out of control.
Yeah.
in
I'll
so
be right
many
back.
ways.
Yeah. We digressed so much.
Yeah, we did.
Martin Luther King. Oh, in school.
But I also remember going to the MLK Museum because my family's from Tennessee. So my dad's from just outside Memphis, and one of the family reunion trips was to go with like a whole bunch of people, and we all went through the museum. So like, and the museum is the hotel. So you like literally walk into the lobby of the hotel, and it's the Civil Rights Museum. So there's an old like half cut out bus from like the bus boycott, the Montgomery bus boycott, and there's audio going through, and you end up, the tour like concludes with you on the balcony, which is like
On the balcony?
Wow.
like it's insane.
That's
like you don't
heavy.
get to walk, but like you walk up and there's like, like plexiglass or whatever, and a
Yeah.
railing, and then the balcony is like 4 feet of balcony.
Wow.
Yeah, so like I just remember I was older at this point, but I remember just and every single person in the room, as we're like, and this is all my family, we're like shuffling through this, just everyone's going from like, oh, we're enjoying family time, like, oh my God, I haven't seen you in so long, to like the conversation's getting more and more sparse.
Yeah.
And then when we're in the like his hotel room and walking through that, just no one's saying anything, and we're all just like looking at like the placards and looking at like and just reading silently to ourselves.
That's
that was
crazy.
Yeah.
That's an experience.
Yeah.
I highly recommend it if anybody can get, like, if you're close to Memphis or you go through Memphis, go to the Civil Rights Museum, and go to the hotel, go and do all the stuff in Memphis that is centered around Dr. King, because there's like a lot of
so
stuff
much
there. But that was my experience of like learning and being educated about Martin Luther
That's
King.
a good. Yeah, I've never gone to like a museum or anything. For me, I have this kind of like hazy memory in elementary school where the assignment was to memorize a portion of his I Have a Dream speech is long, but the part where he goes into I Have a Dream, it's like maybe 5 paragraphs, and each paragraph starts with I have a dream, I have a dream. So we had to pick one of those I Have a Dream paragraphs and recite that, memorize it and recite it in class. I didn't catch that we only had to do one of those paragraphs.
Oh.
So I memorized the whole, like all 5 of the ones of that started with I Have a Dream.
Wow.
And so everyone's going up and doing theirs. I'm like, what's happening? What's going on? Yeah.
Were you nervous at all? Like, that's a lot of text for.
How old were
It's
you?
like a monologue.
I'm pretty sure it was in elementary school.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I did all of it. And then everyone clapped. I didn't really understand. I just had I don't know. I just was a weird little kid. I just memorized the whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
And recited it. And then I went and sat down and I didn't think much of it. And then I remember my mom talking to me about it. And I was like, how did you know? So obviously my teacher brought it up to my mom and my mom was like happy about it. She's like, that's a good job. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I didn't know. Like in my mind, I just didn't know what I had just done.
Yeah.
So you went up and recited the most like, important, powerful, yeah.
And I'm probably the only black kid in the class because it's Long Beach Elementary.
say,
Yeah, it's Lowell Elementary School. So yeah, I was the woke kid.
Yeah. The other kids are probably like, shit, she probably already knew that.
Yeah. So that's like I think my first memory of like learning about Dr. Martin Luther King.
Mm-hmm. I had a lot of the stuff with like Malcolm X that started. Like you were saying, like there was like a lot of like, well, Martin Luther King's the one to follow, and that's there's not to cast aspersions on Dr. King, but there's definitely some like weird be like a good little Negro. We'd prefer that than like the violent uprising, and I understand why why white America wants like black folks to identify with Martin Luther King more than Malcolm X. But the truth is the end result for both of them was
the same, exact same.
Yeah,
Can you imagine if every black person went and got a gun permit and then owned a gun?
Because that was what the decree was by the Nation of Islam, was we all need to go and register. Yeah, that was.
Can you I think if everyone did that, like set a day and just went and did that, so we would see so much shit come out.
Shit would be. It would. Yeah. The fastest legislation ever would happen.
Well, that's the reason why you can't openly carry a gun now, is because the Panthers, they were walking around like up in Oakland, walking around with guns because they were just protecting the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And eventually people were like, no, y'all can't do this. And so now there's a law where you can't openly walk around in California with a gun.
Yep.
That's when that law was put into place. After they would start walking down the street. And there's videos of it, and it's really cool to watch them just like walking down the street with these big ass rifles.
Like rifles. And these are a lot like many of the Panthers were veterans, were like Vietnam veterans, so they were like trained with these weapons. These weren't, and
you would see them like there's pictures of